Right here, at home. Protect your out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family, I'll do 1, 2, 3.
You see, we dream chase, cause that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for being here with us because we truly appreciate it. What's going on, Eagles Nation and TMTP family? Welcome to the Main Thing Podcast presents. It's your boy, Mr. Owens. And after further review, the call stands. I'm still official with no stripes.
What's going on, Eagles family? This is your man, Big Huss, the one you trust, bringing you all your Philadelphia Eagles latest. Hey, me and Mr. Owens are coming to you on Hump Day, man. Here to discuss a few things, number changes, rule changes, some draft talk, top 30 visits. So definitely stay tuned. I hope you're having a great week. It's going to be a good show.
Hey, because like you said, man, we got an amazing show lined up for our supporters today. I just wanted to touch on some news that might not be newsworthy, but I feel as Eagle fans, this should be discussed. One is the Eagles pep band after 28 seasons is being let go of their duties by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles organization said that they wanted to give more different game experience for the fans. So that's some tough news because we all know that the Eagles pep band gets everybody fired up and leads the fight song Fly Eagles Fly. So best wishes to them. And I know that they'll still be doing some type of entertainment somewhere because they are amazing. Another thing that I wanted to mention because is Susan Toast Fletcher, former Eagles GM, general manager for those that don't know what the GM stands for, passes away at 83. She's the daughter of former Eagles owner Leonard Toast. Susan was the only woman to handle general manager duties for an NFL team in the league's history. So making with the Eagles is always history making. And we definitely want to give our prayers and condolences to the family for sure. And finally, we got news about this a few days ago because the Eagles and Browns will be holding another joint practice during training camp in the second week of training camp. But before we get into these topics and dive deep, Big Huss, I want to say to our supporters and our new supporters, make sure that y'all keep liking these videos. They definitely help getting out to the algorithm. Also, make sure to keep leaving comments, share, subscribe the channel, and finally turn on them notification bells so you don't miss any news that we drop here on our channel.
Once again, hey, you heard Mr. Owens. Gonna get to that. Lock in, tap in, see what we talking about here. But hey, let's jump right into it. Number changes. So we got a couple number changes going on here. We have Adoree Jackson, the corner who came over from the Giants. He'll be rocking number 8. Yeah, I mean, he got the new Kobe John.
Took CJ's.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I feel like to get 8, bro, you better be playing, bro. Like you get single digits, you gotta be playing. You feel me? So,
well, we learned very quickly because people who get single digits and don't play, Mr. Huff.
Bad experience. I forgot. I try to forget all about that. Then you have Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He'll be rocking number 14.
Okay.
Avery Williams will be wearing number 18. We'll see if he can make that sexy from a skill position. Then you have Charlie Hewlett, the new long snapper. He'll be rocking number 47. Just a couple number changes. Nothing too crazy. But now moving on from number changes to rule changes. You want to go ahead and kick that off?
So with the rule changes, as we all know at the owners' meetings, right after the season ends, a lot of teams put in requests for rule changes and things like that. But some that mainly focus specifically with the Eagles is there will be more discussions allowed during the legal tampering period, which is only on a trial basis. So teams will now be able to have direct communications with free agents during a 52-hour legal tampering window. If a team reaches an agreement with the free agent on a deal during the legal tampering window, because the team will be allowed to make travel arrangements for the player. The rule change will be implemented for one season before determining whether it should become a permanent rule. Also, K-balls, known as kicking balls, will be able to be prepared prior to the game day. So they'll give it a day before the game day. Normally they'll do it. They'll deliver the kicking balls the day of the game. So just like footballs use on plays from scrimmage, K-balls will now be able to be prepared on the eve of game days. Several teams proposed this rule change as teams were only allowed to prepare K-balls on game days in the past. Finally, you have more scouting allowed for postseason teams. Teams will now be able to get scouting credentials for potential postseason opponents in week 17 and 18 of the regular season. Additionally, teams hosting games in the wild card round will be required to hand out scouting credentials to all postseason teams in their respective conference.
That could be huge. That could be a huge one for real. So some more rule changes that we have, though. Overtime rules. The NFL owners are passing a rule change that allow both teams to possess the ball in overtime during the regular season. The overtime period will now be reduced from 15 minutes to 10. This was a rule change that the Eagles actually proposed. Mm-hmm. They had wanted 15 minutes, but the committee had decided on 10. But this could be big if you go back to where the Bills Chiefs game a few years back, where Josh Allen never got his chance to get back in that game. So overtime rules have been tweaked a little bit. The NFL will then expand the use of replay assists. Penalties can be subject to replay review. Hits on defenseless players, grabbing the face mask, performing horse collar tackles, tripping, running to or roughing the kicker can now be reviewed, but they can only be reviewed if the flag was thrown on the play. If the ref didn't throw the flag and it wasn't called a penalty on the field, it cannot be asked to be reviewed by a coach looking for a penalty.
I like that rule.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one too. They also introduced Hawkeye cameras that'll help measure first downs, so you'll get a more accurate reading on first downs. Long gone is the chain gang. They've introduced Sony's Hawkeye cameras to help measure in 2025 season. These cameras will effectively, like I said, replace the change game and crucial plays. There will be 6 8K cameras to track the ball's position on the field. So with that said, they should have every angle of this ball. We should get the most accurate of readings when it comes to first down. There shouldn't be questionable calls, whether this was a first down or not, or whatever the case may be. I thought that would be big. We'll see how that goes. And then lastly, touchbacks will be moved back to the 35-yard line. This one is a little wild for real. For it to be a touchback, and then you're talking about you're damn near getting the ball close to the 50.
The midfield. Mm-hmm.
Midfield is ridiculous. We went from years past where it was on the 20 to now it's on the 35. Shoot, 4 or 5 years from now, might be on the 50-yard line. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know how I feel about this one. It just seems a little too advantageous for one side of the ball, if I'm being honest. You're almost guaranteeing all I need is, 30 yards if I'm an offense, and I'll be in field goal range, depending upon my kicker. So I don't know about that one being a defender.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and because we almost forgot one of the biggest rule changes that will make Eagle fans super elated and excited. Oh, we're going to be able to wear our Kelly Greens and our alternates a little bit more here in these upcoming seasons. The NFL is allowing teams to wear an alternate or throwback uniform up to 4 times per season. Was previously 2 times before. Per Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz, teams will also be allowed to wear their alternate pants in the playoffs. Previously, teams could only wear their alternate or throwback uniforms up to 3 times in a single season. I stand corrected. I said 2, but it was 3. but now we're up to 4, so that's amazing.
Nah, that's dope. So then you could wear either the Kelly Greens or the All Blacks.
Or black boys.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And shoot, we undefeated in the Kelly Green, so we get to wear that 4 times. Shoot, that's 4 dubs right there.
And Huss, on top of that, not only can we wear the Kelly Greens and the all black bulls, we could wear the white tops with the black pants at the bottom too.
Ooh, I like that one too. I like that one too.
Mhm.
And then we have the biggest discussed possible rule change of the day. We all know the tush push. This was discussed left and right by all the teams in the league. And after all that discussion, we got nowhere. We're still in the same spot. They haven't ruled yay or nay. The committee has decided to reconvene in May to further discuss it. They felt that they didn't have enough on it to make a decision either way. I believe that there were 16 people who have voted, or 16 teams who have voted against it. They had needed 8 more to officially ban it. So this gives those 16 teams time to sway more teams onto their side. Somebody had mentioned this. If they were going to, I believe it was Kyle Brent, if they were going to just outright leave the play, then they would have left it alone. The fact that you're giving it more time for folks to find the material, find the wording in order to ban it, lets me know at some point, whether it's this season, next season, 3 seasons from now, the tush push, more than likely, the brotherly shove will be outlawed. But as of right now, hey, Philly, we still winning. You know what I'm saying? We still got it. You know? Hopefully it makes it through May up to game 1. You know what I'm saying? We're able to use it next year. But if not, I know the Philadelphia Eagles, Harry Rose with Nick Sirianni, they all have contingency plans just in case it does go left. But hey, we'll see how it goes, man. Folks just hating, bro. Straight hating.
Straight hating, bro. And like you said, it's already 16 teams that want to ban it. If you think about it, it's only 32 teams in the league. So 16 to 16, that's half of the league already. Right. You see what I'm saying? And then we've already been going through this for the past 3 or 4 seasons about it potentially getting banned. But like Lane Johnson, Paved the Lane, said, they hate us because they ain't us. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if they ban it or if they don't ban it. We'll still be on top and we'll still be winning a lot of ball games.
For sure. For sure. Even like I said, we go back to the original just QB sneak. Don't quote me on this, but I believe we were around 80% on that. So 4th and 1, 3rd and short, we're still getting those, whether they lead the play in or not. You know what I mean? They're just, like we said, hating. And it's crazy.
Yes, and Huss, what? Because we don't want to talk too much about the tush push because, like we said, no decision was made. But what will make life so much easier is, as a defense and a defensive coordinator, why don't you tell your players to play better? Why don't y'all win on early downs, the 1st and 2nd down, so that you don't get in 3rd and short situations or 4th and short situations, so you have to defend a tush push? Why don't you be better on 1st and 10, on 2nd and 8, and don't allow us to get into that position to do a tush push? People just don't want to be competitive no more. They're making the game soft. They're making it watered down. But I understand for the player safety, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but even to the player safety aspect of it, the data's there. There are no injuries. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing head coaches speak out on why they want the play banned, and the main 2 reasons are, we're trying to get ahead of injuries. There's been 0 injuries the past several years has been used. Secondly, it's just not aesthetically pleasing. It's not a football play because it doesn't look good. You want it outlawed? You want it banned? What are we doing? Is this a beauty pageant? Are we playing football? Are we getting down? Is this mano man? What are we doing? So I'm like, nah. It's weird activity. Either way you look at it, it all boils down to teams just hating because they can't do it, just jealousy, so, but I hope it sticks around. Like I said, we ain't gonna talk too much more on it. I hope it does last at least for a couple more years. We get maybe another ring or 2 out of it before they truly decide to, ban the play. We'll see how that goes.
They trying to be going that John.
Yeah, okay? I don't need you. You need me. I'll do the show by myself. You know, I'm doing everything else around here anyway. See, I wrote it, I'll produce it, and most importantly, I'm starring in it. Poof! Because
Man, quick and in a hurry. Houdini style. Like, wow. But nah, so before we get into top 30 visits and draft stuff, quick roster move, free agent signing. Matt Pryor is coming on back to Philly, coming on back to the place that drafted him. We gave him a 1-year deal per Jeff McClain. Pryor's now 30. Like I said, was originally drafted by Philly back in 2018 out of TCU. He's another versatile lineman. And even outside of the Eagles in general, offense, defense, whatever it may be, we love versatility. If you can do more than one thing, more than likely Philadelphia is going to take a real hard look at you. And this is a guy who can play either tackle position, can play guard. Yeah, I mean, known within the building. Jeff Stoutland pulled the trigger on bringing him in the first place. So coming back to a guy who believes in him, will coach him up right. And I think this would be a good depth piece, a good swing tackle. Somebody who will help us down the road, because it's been proven throughout the season our linemen do get hurt at one point or another. So I thought a great depth signing.
That's a great depth piece. Like you said, bro, we typically have our line intact for the most part, but we do get hit with the injury bug, just like every other team gets hit with the injury bug. And I remember when Matt Pryor was previously here, he did play a lot of meaningful games and meaningful snaps. I remember a video or two ago when we were touching on the injuries that decimated our offensive line back in, I believe, 2019, because Matt Pryor was one of the people who had to fill in and play a large amount of games. So that is definitely a great depth piece added to our team. And then also he brings experience and already knows what the culture is here in Philadelphia. So coming back ain't going to be a shock to him. Like, oh, this is how they do it over here. Because I was with the Bears last year. They wasn't doing it like this over there. You see what I'm saying? So that is great to have him back in the fold and get him back with Jeff Stoutland.
Nah, definitely. I thought that was, I didn't even think about that. He knows the standard. He knows what's expected of him here. So he will fit in and assimilate seamlessly. But top 30 visits now. Got a couple players you had wanted to mention.
So one top 30 visit, he was kind of the newest top 30 visit that we had, and that is Olufemi. I don't want to butcher your name, and I apologize if I say your last name wrong. Oladejo, out of UCLA, edge defender. He's 6'3", 259, ran a 4.7 in a 40-yard dash. He is a converted linebacker, and I know how Vic Fangio likes to use our edge rushers to drop back into coverage and play in the flats and sometimes in the hook to curl area. So for him having previously playing linebacker, he has some coverage skill ability. Also, what I love about him is he has great hip mobility to bend the edge, especially being a former linebacker. That's kind of hard to just convert from linebacker to edge and be able to have that hip bend and flexibility to get around these massive, gigantic tackles in the NFL, or even in college football as well, because you do have some big boys at tackle in college football as well. Man, what? Come on now. And then he has violent hands at the point of contact, something that I look for in defensive linemen. You have to win at the point of contact. That's what it's all about, being in the trenches. Who gets off the ball first, who has the better leverage, who has the better base. His coverage instincts, he can diagnose the run scheme and flow patterns from being a prior linebacker. And then he has a high motor and finishes through the plays. That's somebody who I know Vic Fangio, he's, like we always keep saying, he loves the linebackers. That is his specialty. That is his position. So it's kind of almost similar to Jalix Hunt in a way, where he was a safety and then they converted him to edge. And you see how that turns out. It's sky's the limit for Jalix Hunt and a major upside. But some negatives that I saw from Oladejo was he's still learning pass rush moves, and he plays a little bit too high coming off the football. And also he has to develop his counter moves when his initial move doesn't work. But that's going to come with more repetition. That's going to come with more coaching and better coaching for him to get those rush moves down to a T. The second person who I wanted to discuss was Donovan Jackson, offensive tackle out of Ohio State University, the Ohio State University. He's a multi-purpose offensive lineman. So like you said, and I'm going to add on to your point, because what do you say? We love versatility here in Philadelphia. Being versatile. We will take a hard look at you. So with him being a multi-purpose offensive lineman, you can line him up at tackle, you can line him up at guard. That's what we look for. I know that's what Jeff Stoutland seeks when he's looking for an offensive lineman. He's 6'4", 320. So what you like? Hog Molly. He's a hog Molly up front. He benched 225 at the combine 32 times, so he's strong. All right, 225 ain't no lightweight. All right. He has the ideal frame with his massive size. Again, like I said, at being 6'4", 320. He's a nasty finisher in a run game. We're a run heavy dominated team. He displaces his defenders, something that we're used to our offensive line doing on a week in and week out basis. He has a very high football IQ. He has natural grip strength, which is something that people don't tend to pay attention to, but something that's very prevalent and heavily looked at being an offensive lineman. And finally, his initial punch, and he's violent at the point of contact, which I like. He's just a nasty physical blocker. So some knocks on him is because of his size, his pad level gets too high at times. His hand placement can get out of place sometimes. So getting out of the frame where you're supposed to be inside with the shoulder pads, he gets outside of the shoulder pads, causing sometimes to get holding penalties. And then he can be too aggressive when getting to the second level. So sometimes that causes him to miss blocking the defenders at the second level. And we like to do a lot of pin and pulls and pulling our linemen and things like that. So that's something that he can, if we do draft him, get with Jeff Stoutland to work on to tone down his motor and be able to make those key blocks so that we can spring Saquon or AJ Dillon or whoever is running the ball at that time, QB1, for longer gains. But that's somebody, those two people I do like. I did love what I saw on Film Hus, so I would be excited if we did land them in an NFL draft here in April.
Hey, both of those sound like promising prospects. People who can come in, you know what I mean, and I don't want to play immediately, but be maybe key contributors down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Some other top 30 visits that I wanted to mention. So you had Maxwell Harrison, who I believe came in last week. He played 32 games at Kentucky. I like Maxwell as well. He's cornerback out of Kentucky, played 3 years there where he logged 6 interceptions, returned 3 of those for touchdowns. So he finds the end zone, had 10 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, was a guy who ran a sub 4.3 40. So fast.
Oh, he sound like me when I used to run the 40.
Boy, if you don't
moving straight floating throw. He's a top 5 cornerback, the number 31 prospect in this year's draft. Even though on the slighter side at 5'11", 183 pounds, he's still very physical. He's not scared. He will line up across from anybody, sometimes get a little grabby. But overall, I thought solid corner. He can come in, honestly, be a day one starter, I believe, anywhere he goes for. He has those type of traits. Mm-hmm. Trust his eyes, that type of ball skill. NFL comp is Sam Shields. If for those who don't know, cornerback out of Miami.
Man. Come on now.
You feel me? Fast guy, physical, great technique. In this scheme, I think he would thrive. Another top 30 visit would be Jaden Blue, running back out of Texas, 21-year-old, played in Texas from 2022 to 2024. If you don't really know the name, it's because he's been behind some guys. You know, you had the running back that went down to the Falcons, Bijan Robinson, who was highly heralded coming out. He played behind him. We played behind another running back, but From 2022 to 2024, he logged 214 carries, 1,161 rushes, 5.4 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns. He also had 56 receptions for 503 yards. That's about 9 yards per reception, and then added 7 touchdowns to that. So he's shown that he can also run the ball, but be a good receiver as well. Once again, we talk about the versatility, being able to do multiple things. Eagles love running backs, especially nowadays, but even going back to Westbrook and those guys who can catch the ball. A little undersized, 5'9", 196 pounds, so probably be around that 200 mark when it's all said and done, maybe 205 tops, but super physical. Super duper physical. At his pro day, he had ran a 4.25. So he is a blazer, speed for days. I thought that would be a nice compliment to what we have already, where you have Saquon, who is obviously unique, generational bet, a unicorn for where you have the size, the power, the speed, the whole combination. But then you bring in an A.J. Dillon, who was more power. You have a Will Shipley, who he has to prove himself, but more in the mode of a Kenny Gainwell. This guy will bring a unique element to our backfield where pass catcher, great receiving option out of the backfield, elite breakaway speed, hit you with that, and I'm gone. Kind of reminds me of a poor man's Jahmyr Gibbs, and we've seen the success that Jahmyr Gibbs has had. Jahmyr Gibbs isn't a big running back. He stands probably about 205 pounds, but what makes him elite is the stop-start acceleration. Jaden Blue has that. If he gets a crease, you are not catching this guy. So I thought that would be a nice addition to the to the running back group that we already have.
Like you said, if he gets a crease, because mama, there goes that man.
Man down. Mama, there goes that
man. Man. For real. And then the last one would be Shamar Stewart. You got a lot of linemen out of Texas A&M coming out. This is another one, defensive end. Shamar Stewart is 22 years old, about 6'3", goes from 290 to 300 pounds. In 43 career games, he has 115 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. He was a second-team All-SEC last year. Didn't run and really perform at the combine due to a hamstring injury, so we don't have a lot of his 40-yard dashes and splits and agility drills. But this boy can play. Uber aggressive, great get off, uses his hands very well. This is another guy where we mentioned key theme, versatility. Shamar could play inside, he could play outside. Anthony DeBoda made a great tweet in comparison, comparing him to Milton Williams, where Milton Williams, once again, had the versatility to play on the edge. You can slide him in depending upon the package in which you wanted. Turner's snap total at Texas A&M over the tackle. He had 205 snaps outside the tackle, 538. B gap, 690. A gap, 204. Williams coming out of Louisiana Tech, 572 snaps over the tackle, 376 outside the tackle, 305 at the B gap, 4 at the A gap. So they're moving this guy around. He has the size and feet and hands to play inside a route. And in this scheme, that would allow us to bring different pressure looks, disguise things in ways that maybe we couldn't before. He plays very fast. He's capable of using, as I mentioned, variable alignments. My only negative on this guy is he costs his team a lot of 15-yard penalties. This guy could questionably, I don't want to say be a head case, but for lack of better words, be liability. A head case. Yeah, liability. He has some off-field issues where he was charged in a reckless driving charge. There was also another scene where they said the guy came up and kind of punched the player in the nether region. So the guy lives life on the edge. I'll put it like that. But given the leadership that we have within the building, because when you look at it, Hey, folks said the same thing about Jalen Carter coming out.
Indeed.
And since Jalen Carter joined the Philadelphia Eagles, for the most part, you have heard nothing but great things from this guy. The production has been there. The leadership has been there. He's done his thing. Shamar could be one of those guys. You just got to bring him into the right building. We have the leadership on both sides of the ball where you're not going to come in and disturb what we got going on right here. The culture is set. So we have a top 30 visit with him. We'll see how Harry Roseman and Nick Sirianni and Jeff Lurie and everybody feel about the guy. He could be a great scheme fit, a great addition to the rotation that we already have on his D line, especially given the versatility and some of the losses on what we have. His pro comp would be Nnamdi Madambukwe. If you don't know him, he is the D tackle from the Ravens, number, I believe, 92, if I'm not mistaken. Straight dog. Dog. He puts us in the mind frame of that. So if we can get that type production from him, you would damn near have 2 elite D tackles. Now, I believe that's it on the top 30 visits for now. I'm sure there'll be more to come. We still have a few weeks until the combine actually sets in. But moving on to, we did our own little, mock drafts. Now, we won't give y'all the full 7 rounds. We're just going to go through the first few rounds today. But want to give y'all our thoughts and feelings on some players that we could draft and set positions through these first 3 rounds of this 2025, NFL draft.
Mm-hmm. And Huss, real quick on Shamar, what I like about him is, like you said, he's played outside of the tackle, inside of the tackle, A gap, B gap assignments. He adds and will bring a lot of flexibility to our line. You see what I'm saying? And it just seems like the word of the day is versatility. That's what it seems like. That's what it was boiling down to. But I do definitely like Shamar store out of Texas A&M.
Yeah, no. Texas A&M this year has bolstered a great defensive line. You have potentially 3 defensive linemen who could go top 50 picks in this draft, all coming from one school. So, yeah, the talent's there. Whatever their recruiting operation is there as far as bringing the talent in, it's outstanding. And honestly, it even goes past this year. You have the Myles Garretts, the Von Millers. This has been going on for several years now. So they got something good going down there as far as finding great D-line talent.
Mm-hmm.
Folks who have, honestly, elite athletic traits.
And play in the SEC, which, we love the SEC. So
that we do.
High-level competition.
Yes. For sure. It matters. It transitions well. You just know when you go from that conference, or some will say the Big Ten, I would put that the next conference under the SEC. When you go to the NFL and those bright lights turn on and those games get big, they won't be too big for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the players from smaller schools can't come in and transition well, because obviously they can. James Hunt just won the Super Bowl and he made plays in the Super Bowl. Coming from a smaller school. Yeah, Quenya coming from Toledo, smaller school, starter all year. So it can be done. It's just you have a higher probability of success coming from a bigger school transitioning in. That's all. Mm-hmm. But man, off that, mock draft time. These first 3 rounds, let's talk about it.
So, like you said, we only are going to give the first 3 rounds of our 7-round draft. Like you said, these lists are fluid; they change on a really day-to-day basis, if not a week-to-week basis. But the first pick, number 32 overall, he was one of the top 30 visits here for us in Philadelphia. I chose Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle from Oregon. Love his size. He's 6'5", 311. His 10-yard split was a 1.71, so he gets off the ball, fires off the ball rather quickly for his size especially. He's an elite pass protector, something that us having a dominant offensive line, we kind of struggled at times this past season. He moves fluidly and understands his leverage points. Also, he has elite footwork that helps him mirror defenders. So mirror defenders, obviously, just like a mirror in real life where you see yourself, you're basically sliding left to right in front of the defender. So that's what he does at an elite status. Now, a knock on him is he can struggle to create movement in the run game, but that's something where you come in with Jeff Stoutland, you enroll yourself in Stoutland University. We can work on you getting a physical motor in the run game and be able to displace the defenders and things like that. But at least we have a start with him being an elite pass protector. That's something that is harder to teach, I feel, than just firing off the ball and getting your hand placement in certain places to be able to drive defenders back and create holes for the running game. Second, I took TJ Sanders with pick number 63. He's a defensive tackle out of South Carolina. 6'4", 290, great size for interior defensive lineman. He ran a 4.95 in the 40-yard dash. He's violent with his hands. He's elite at the point of attack. He understands leverage. What we always said on these videos, on this content, a lot of people get out leveraged. You never want to get out leveraged, especially on the defensive line. You always want to have your outside arm free. So if the running back or whoever has the ball carrier breaks to the outside, you have your outside arm free while you have your inside arm engaged with the player. He's advanced with his pass rush repertoire, so he has a lot in the arsenal. He could come with you with spin moves. He could come with you with swim moves. He could come with you with the rip through and push and pull. A lot of different moves in his pass rush. Also, he's versatile in scheme. He has played the 0 technique all the way up to the 5 technique. So what do we say? The key word or the word of the day is versatility. That's something that we love and crave in Philadelphia. Finally, he competes at a high level. Again, he played in the SEC. We're going to keep hammering this home. How he learned really quickly. After he made his debacle with choosing that man Rager over Justin Jefferson, Howie said, look, I know I'm a Florida guy, but just like what's it called? Nolan Smith said, if you want to win, go ahead and draft the Georgia boys or the SEC. So look, you know how we feel about that SEC. Some knocks on him real quick. Big Huss is his pad level is inconsistent with him, of course, being 6'4", 290. It's easier for him sometimes to stand straight up and people be able to get underneath of his pad level, be able to control him. And then also his run fits can be inconsistent when dealing with multiple blockers. So that's something that he's certainly going to have to work on at the next level. Finally, my third pick, and I know I might get some slack for this, but I know you mentioned Jadon Blue on that top 30 visit, and y'all know how I feel about this certain individual. Somehow, some way, I think he's going to be in midnight green. But the third pick that I made was Cam Scatterbo, running back out of Arizona State. 5'11", 219, ran a 4.65 40. My positives on him is he runs angry and finishes through his runs. Solid through the contact. He has an elite balance, so when the first defender hits him, he stays on his feet. He doesn't fall after initial contact, and that enables him to pick up extra yards on the run. He has an elite vision, so a lot of cutback, a lot of flow in the scheme. He's great at that. That's what we do here with the Philadelphia Eagles. We do a lot of counter and things like that where you have to cut back and flow against the grain. He's a patient runner who sets up his blocks, and especially putting him behind our line, I can see him doing wonders behind our Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. And finally, for the positives, he's reliable in short yardage and goal line. That's something that we have to take into consideration because, of course, we just talked about the tush push possibly being banned for this upcoming season or the seasons in the future. Again, like I said, he's very reliable in short yardage and goal line. He converted 78% of third and short situations. So when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, your man Scatterbo, He gonna pick up that first down, just like how we pick up the tush push, y'all haters. So now we got another alternative. We draft Cam Scatterbo that we don't even gotta set up a tush push. We'll just go ahead and hand the ball off and go ahead and pick up the first downs. Now, all the positives comes negatives real quick because his ball security. That's something that we emphasize and preach here. Don't give me that face, because that is something that we emphasize and preach here in Philadelphia. Jamal Singleton will be able to sort that out, especially with the drill where they be holding it. He be using the little punching jaw to try and get it out. Oh, you gonna hold on to that ball, Cam. Over the past 3 seasons at Arizona State, he had 10 fumbles. Don't do that. His long speed is not elite. He has a quick burst, but then like when he's breaking away, he can get caught from behind. But that's neither here nor there, because it's a lot of running backs who don't have long breakaway speed. But if you can get me a solid 10-15 yards a pop, I ain't mad, or even a 5-yard gain a pop. I'm not mad at that. And finally, he has durability concerns. We talked about this off camera because the wear and tear on his body and the tread on his tires. Over the past 2 seasons, he's carried the ball 521 times. So that's something to monitor. That's something to be on the lookout. But I think that if we could get him in like the 4th, I know I took him in round 3. We get him in like the late 3rd, 4th roundish. I think that's a great value for what we look for here in Philadelphia, especially the skill set that he has, not only being a runner, but he can also catch out the backfield as well. That's something that we value here in Philadelphia in the running back room.
Nah, for sure. He would probably definitely tote behind this line. I ain't even gonna lie about that, John. Because he gets off. I'm not look, no slight to the white running backs out there. You know what I'm saying? But boy, he be getting off. Not even low key. He eats.
He eats. So, and who'd you say his comp to you was when we talked
for me, it was more like a poor man's Ray Rice for real. You know what I'm saying? I know Ray Rice had a faster 40 coming out. But if folks, like, I'm from that Jersey area, Ray had to cut weight to even get a faster 40. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure if Cam had cut some weight, maybe got down to 205, 210 instead of run that 220-ish mark, he probably run faster. But he gave me that same, run between the tackles, tough, can catch the ball, on the slighter side, shorter, stocky, We'll see.
And real quick, before you get into your 3, I just want to tell our supporters, the 40, don't take too much stock into 40 times, because 40 times is just how many times in a game do you just run in a straight line for 40 yards? It's not often. So like I said, don't take too much stock in it. It's a difference between 40 times and actual game speed, because when you turn on a film, you can tell who has natural game speed and things like that. So that's why I just wanted to say real quick to our supporters, because
nah, for sure. Honestly, as Mr. Owens mentioned, from a running back position, 40s can kind of be like this. I mean, if you run a great 40, so be it, especially if it transitions to the field, cool. But you have a lot of running backs who are in that 4.5, 4.6 range who you put them on a football field, and it's like, oh, that's nasty work. Like, he's getting off. I would say 40s more so transition, maybe when you're talking about cornerbacks, sometimes receivers, or DBs in general. It hits a little different on the defensive side of the ball. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But take it with a grain of salt. Now moving into my mock draft here, you feel me? First, we're gonna start with that 32nd pick. Coming out of South Carolina, we chose safety Nick Emmanwori. What was crazy, like, the Chiefs had chose Malachi Starks right before, and my man was still on the board. This is a guy who's 6'3", 220 pounds, ran a 4.38 40, had a 1.49 10-yard split. So the speed, the burst is there. 43-inch vertical, 11.6 broad jump, and still put up 26 reps on the 225 bench press. So size, speed, strength is there. Versatile, like you said, keyword of the day. Versatility. They have where he's played in the box. He had him playing in the slot. They've had him playing the high safety. He's really shown to do it all, and he's shown to, with each year, get better with it. You've had film where we've watched, he's taken pick sixes back damn near 100 yards, running the length of the field, getting off. He's coming down, crushing ball carriers at the line of scrimmage. He's not afraid to put his face near and run support.
Mm-hmm.
The way I looked at it, well, as much so, let's put it like this. Sidney Brown is supposed to be the guy this year. And I said it with air quotes, not saying that he won't be. I actually like Sidney Brown. I like what he brings to the table. I just look at it from a standpoint of, if the Eagles were all in on Sidney Brown, then when you traded CJ Gardner-Johnson, you wouldn't have tried to make a push for a Justin Reed. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we're still in the hunt for a safety. I'm not too sure, but at 32, with him still sitting out there, I thought, once again, value pick, what he would bring, what Vic Fangio could do with this guy. What's my man from the Chargers? Derwin James.
Florida State product.
Florida State boys, man. You know what it is. You know? Right? But no, like a Derwin James type of guy, and this could be dangerous. So I thought that would be a great pick there.
Great pick.
With my second pick in the second round, pick 64, I chose Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor. With everything hanging in the balance with Dallas Goedert, whether he's on the roster or not, I still think this would be a great pick right here. It gives you a second option at tight end. Dallas Goedert is known to get hurt from time to time. We're going to the final year of his contract, so he might not even be here next year. So it gives you a year to groom a tight end who is a similar player to Dallas Goedert. 6'4", 250, does great finding holes in zone coverage. I thought that with everything going on, we have to start working on tight end 2 and just the next tight end in line. We don't have a solid option behind that. Mm-hmm. This gives you a great pick. Mason Taylor, complacent tight end, y'all. You know what I mean? Give Jalen Hurts another option. If y'all hear the thunder, and it's a whole storm going on right now. It's madness outside. But yeah, so his pro comp was Dallas Goedert. He's a reliable target. He only had one drop in 2024. Converted 68% of his, 68 of his receptions. I said that wrong. Went for first downs.
So he's a chain mover.
He's a chain mover. Hey, it's third and long or third and whatever. Find Mason. I got you. He's clutch. He's Mr. Clutch. Clutch will be throwing to Mr. Clutch. So I thought that'd be a great pick there. And then with my third pick.
And with that, real quick, Huss, he already has an NFL pedigree, bro. As you mentioned, his dad is Jason Taylor, who is a Hall of Fame defensive end, formerly used to play with the Miami Dolphins. And then, like you said, I believe that you mentioned that his
uncle.
Yeah, his uncle is Zach
Thomas.
Zach Thomas. The former linebacker with the Miami Dolphins as well. So he's already used to being around that type of work ethic and things like that. So I think that it is an amazing pick because
for sure. And he's coming out of LSU. He's playing elite football.
SEC.
There you go. Those first two picks, that's SEC football. So they're used to playing top tier football. The moment would not be too big for them. And then with my last pick, Emory Jones, a tackle out of LSU. I went all SEC here. Hey man,
a little disrespectful over there. Ain't it?
Hey, it's crazy right now. It's crazy. I was hoping it would hold off a little bit, but it is raining cats and dogs.
Look, what we got to do, Big Huss. It don't matter if it's raining cats and dogs. You know we gonna get our supporters this content that they deserve.
Hey, rain, sleet, or slow.
Hey.
The main thing podcast train to go.
Rain, sleet, or snow. The Eagles train to go.
Okay. No, so Emory Jones Jr., 21 years old at LSU, 6'5", 315, great size for a tackle. Lane Johnson, I know he had a contract extended him to 2027, but that's another one. We have to start working on a replacement there. We have to find a successor. This would give us an option. Great with his hands, great lateral quickness. He was a freshman All-American in 2022, second team All-SEC in 2023 and 2024. Has seen the best of the best and held his own in a very, very aggressive and just, I don't know, just hungry conference. My only knock with him would be he has to work on his run blocking. And truth be told, I'll probably say the same thing for Mason Taylor. But as you mentioned, that's the thing where you get with your run game coordinator and Jeff Stoutland. Y'all go through these scenarios, he gets you right. Most times when we're bringing in players, maybe they might not be the best run blockers, but when it's all said and done, they turn out to be pretty damn good run blockers. So he's a great talent. He has elite traits. Like I said, work on the run blocking, and he will be set to go. This is a guy you would bring him in the third round. He wouldn't have to be a day one starter. You could sit him for a year or two. Like I said, we still have Lane Johnson through 2027 if he lives out the life of that contract. You can sit him for a couple years, let him maybe get a little bit bigger, fit into his frame, learn the scheme. Hey man, you have your next starter.
Yeah.
So.
And Huss, I wouldn't be mad at that, bro, because we know who we have as a run game coordinator, Jeff Stoutland. If you can take Jordan Mailata, who never played a down of football a day in his life, and just play rugby and could turn him into one of the top tackles in the NFL, I'm pretty sure that with Emory Jones, Jeff Stoutland could do the same thing in the run game.
Absolutely. Like I said, he's proven, done it time and time again. He has went through countless linemen, and he's made them all better versions of themselves. That's just fact of the matter. That's why he is the best in the biz at what he does.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Okay.
The GOAT.
And that's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT. Hey, that's for real. He would be considered the GOAT. A position coaches. No one is better at his job than him. So yeah, bring Emory in, younger guy. You would have him for years. So I thought great picks there. I actually like both our picks, truth be told. We'll see how it goes. I thought everybody who we gave was a great value pick for where we took them. Yeah, and they can come in and contribute year one. And if not, you can still sit them like we're a team that we don't have major holes. We don't have glaring needs. So some of these guys can come in and maybe sit for a year, two maybe, whatever the case may be, until you're ready.
Mm-hmm. And to add on to your point real quick, because as you have mentioned in previous videos, we're built just like a college program. Now, the Alabamas, when they had Nick Sabans, the Georgias now, and things like that, teams like that, what do? They recruit a lot of 5-stars. They get the 5-stars in the building. They learn their culture. They learn their scheme and things like that. And they sit for maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes they don't play until their last year. Yeah, they're redshirt. They'll just sit until their last year and finally play. But that is something that we do with the Philadelphia Eagles because, like you mentioned, we don't have too many holes. We have the luxury of really just picking the BPA, the best player available in the draft.
For sure. Howie has constructed this team in that fashion, and it's boded well for us. We don't have to reach for anything. You could actually take your time and just, hey, all right, this be a nice addition. That'd be a nice addition versus scratching your head and panicking. Hey, if I don't hit on this, then we might be done. It kind of removes some of, although the draft in itself is still a pressure situation, but it removes some of that pressure. Because it's more, luxury picks, I would say, versus outright needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro. But yeah, hey, I love your picks. As we said, the lists are going to continue to change on a daily basis as we continue to do our homework, continue to deep dive in the film, which we love to do. We love just talking football, being around football, and giving our knowledge back to our supporters. But as I do say that, I want to say to our loyal supporters and our new supporters, make sure that y'all keep spamming that like button, just like that spam likely calls that we receive on a normal basis. Also, continue to flood our comment sections. We definitely want to continue to hear y'all thoughts and see what y'all feel about some of these draft picks and the draft procedure that we have going on here this month. Also, share and subscribe our content. Let everybody know that y'all found y'all new favorite Eagles content creators. And last but not least, can't forget this. Don't forget to turn on y'all notification bells, also known as that Liberty Bell looking thingy, so y'all don't miss when Swoop comes out with all the Eagles news and updates.
Hey, come tap in with TMTP, baby. We giving it all to y'all, but nah, for real. We appreciate y'all. Hope everyone's having a great week. I hope your day is looking better than mine right now outside.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
Real. I can't wait for that because it is crazy. But nah, having a great week, man. And this flag was fly. We appreciate y'all. And if you don't know, I go by Big Huss.
And I go by Mr. Owns.
And this is the Main Thing Podcast, where we keep the main thing the main thing. Hey, go Birds. Have a great week. Look out for that next video. See y'all soon.
It was I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chasing.